What's going on, everybody? Welcome to today's YouTube video. It is the 13th, and yeah, I know it's been a long while, but for this video, we're just going to be going into today's trades. I'm going to show you the P&L, I guess, a little bit, but yeah, I shall show it to you now. Bang. So ended up making a lot. We ended up making pretty good money on the first two, and then just kind of sprouted out in the end. But yeah, I'll kind of talk more into it. So without further ado, I just want to get into Monday. Good. All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to today's trading day, I guess, trading recap, the 9th of March. And yeah, we're just going to go into what I took today. So basically, I wanted to be bullish because if you're looking on the hourly, didn't really want to base my bias on the 4 hour. So the hourly was just more clear for me. We're clearly displacing higher, clearly invalidating this hourly gap. And then we're also leaving imbalances below to target too. So yeah, I wanted to be bullish for today. I want to take longs. What also is a good target, a great target even? We have this NWOG above, right here. So perfect draw on liquidity for us to target. So yeah, why did I want to target that, or more so this end? Because it is a high probability liquidity target, I guess. Price just wants to completely fill out this NWOG imbalance completely. It's just kind of like what characteristics I've noticed from just trading. But yeah. Anyways, how are we going to bounce off of it? What is our foundation? Well, we have this hourly unfilled gap below right here. We do have an SMT with this, with ES, because ES already managed to tap into this hourly gap. So either way, like I wanted to see some kind of sweep lower, manipulation lower, taking out all of the strong liquidity and then continuation higher towards hopefully this buy side liquidity right here, right? Something like that. Something to note too is that we also did have a bullish SMT a little bit later. I'll kind of point out, which kind of leads to like low conviction a little bit. But you know, my job is to just keep things simple, not difficult. But it's something to notice, and I'll talk about that when we come to it. But yeah, just looking at how price action reacts. Right here is the SMT actually. So right at market open, right higher high, higher low. So I'm thinking, okay, well, what ended up happening? This SMT gets carried out. We end up sweeping to this hourly intermediate low. And then what also happens? This ends up creating this SMT. Oh, sorry, this ends up creating an hourly intermediate low that we could see price sweep out. Thing right here. So one kind of thing is that you guys know this is 5-minute, right? 5-minute intermediate high that gets formed right here. Why did I not want to take this trade necessarily? Well, for one reason, and what am I doing? So for one reason, I was looking at the hourly, or sorry, the 1-minute, and I found that this conversion happened 7 candles away, and it is the highest time frame with a new manipulation leg that formed. So if I'm like really convicted, I want to be able to trade like on the 1-minute. I found that this just wasn't good enough. And by this point in time, we ended up sweeping to this 5-minute when it like inversed. So I was like, I'm not going to wait for the 5-minute to get invalidated. Even if it did, this is kind of high probability like for price to just kind of go lower. And guess what? It kind of did. So I was waiting for something more better, I guess. Not necessarily better, but more conviction for me to like actually enter onto the trade. And we ended up finding that a little bit after. So price ends up sweeping lower. We end up creating this SMT, right? So price ends up sweeping lower, creates this SMT. And then what do we have immediately following? A 2-minute inversion to the upside right here. And then I just kind of waited for this to get invalidated. Boom, got a little bit of late entry, better RR, targeting this buy side liquidity above, and then 2-minute break even. Could have gone here too for a better RR, but in this case, just take the low hanging fruit and just kind of like don't do anything stupid. But yeah, bang bang, really close. Almost would have gotten to break even, but at the same time, This was my break-even point. I didn't really have any other reason to just go break even. ES didn't sweep it out yet. So we also had equal highs right here. So kind of like waiting. Bang, break even right here. And then buy side liquidity, full TP get taken. Perfect. Yeah. And then let me just show you my PNL right here. So we ended up having a 1.63. So on MNQ is a little bit lower, or whatever it is, what it is. We ended up banking for $962 on the thing. Great. But yeah, without further ado, we'll move on to Tuesday. So let's just get started. All right, what's good, everybody? Welcome to the second day. So it's going to be Tuesday the 10th. Basically, going into the day, we were bullish. We can see that like on the 4-hour, we're displacing like heavily bullish. We're also leaving imbalances, so great draw on liquidity to target if we wanted to go higher. Also, just looking at this like low resistance above us, ooh, like from, oh my gosh, I can't draw. Like from here to here, like there's just tons of low resistance above us that we can target. Just really good draw on liquidity. Well, I think this is like hourly intermediate. Yeah, this ends up being an hourly intermediate high. So perfect draw on liquidity for price to want to trade higher. And then, so also one more thing is that like on the hourly gap, we do end up sweeping into this and then we displaced, like we basically turtle souped it to then go higher. We did recently sweep into this hourly. So honestly, bearish wasn't even that bad if we end up sweeping like low here. So yeah, I think this was a news candle, but yeah, basically what I wanted to see, right? Because if we wanted long, right, go here. We wanted to short, well, I might want to see price build a little bit, come up higher, and then go lower. So yeah, moving forward, we ended up basically just seeing price sweep this out. I did want to see an inversion off of this, but there wasn't any trade opportunities, especially since we invalidated this gap completely. So trade idea got invalidated. We ended up sending lower, and then what did we do? We ended up sweeping with ES, and it was sweeping into this hourly intermediate low, right? That was created at 8:30, probably news data. Created an SMT off of that because we didn't sweep it out yet. I think, yeah, SMT, very small SMT. And then what did we want to do? We wanted to take the first inversion, right? First highest time frame inversion. That was going to be a 3-minute right here. And let me just make sure. Right here. And actually, let me just redo this. So I ended up taking this trade down to this point, and then 5-minute intermediate high is our break-even point, and then we continue higher. Awesome. So from there, what did I want to see? I wanted to see basically the inversion. So bang, we hit that 3, and then immediately goes to our stop loss. But in my head, what am I also looking for? Our draw liquidity is still intact, right? Like we still kind of have this like hourly that we did turtle soup. We could go lower, but objectively, we've been bullish for so long. So we also have this SMT internal. So I was thinking like, well, if we have a CISD, right? What would that CISD do? It would CISD. What would that do? It would give me confirmation that price was just looking for a retracement lower, right? Retracement lower to then come back higher, right? But if we did keep going lower, then obviously my trade idea is invalid. But in this situation, what did we end up seeing? Price created that CISD immediately. We entered, re-entered, and then just, hoped. So, yep, same points, same everything. Yes, same points, same everything. And I believe we didn't have a break even here because, or like SMT-ish, because ES didn't create that. So no need to worry. What I am kind of more worried about was whether or not we created an SMT off of this right here. So yeah, SMT at our TP. So yeah, we end up continuing higher. And then basically banged. Full TP was hit. Yeah. Um, that was it, honestly. 2.77 RR. Let me just make sure that kind of aligns with my journal. Yeah, it was actually a 2.42. I think I ended up going towards here because of an SMT. So actually our SMT was actually here. So I ended up closing a little bit early than I wanted to. Yeah, my apologies. So basically buy side liquidity for us was here for ES. So as soon as I saw that get taken out, I said SMT and then I just closed. And yeah, it sucked. It actually went to full TP, but so what? Rules are rules. Saw the SMT. More than most, it would actually like close, or it'd be better to close because, price could just not take it out and just come back to our break even. And at that point, you're just being stupid. So yeah. And I'm just gonna show you PNL real quick. Yep, 2.42, and then this was not really accurate, but it was like I risked a little bit less than I used to. So I think I risked like 450, something like that, 443 because of contract size error. So either way, like this was more accurate. It's not really risking 500 because then it would be 2.00. But yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, but basically that's it for Tuesday's trade. Let's just get into Wednesday. So basically, recap is I ended up taking one loss and then one win that went to my full TP and ended up getting me out of that loss. So perfect. All right, what's good, everybody? Welcome to Wednesday. And yeah, basically ended up being a break-even trade. But yeah, let's just kind of go into market open before I even talk about everything. So basically, it'll be better for you guys. Okay, basically, I was leaning more bullish because it's kind of similar to like the past few days. Displacement higher, no clear invalidation here, but like clearly see we're trending higher on the higher time frame. I wasn't opposed to taking shorts because I think by this point, yeah, so this candle never happened yet, but like by this point, I wanted to see if we actually wanted it to react towards this or not. So yeah. And then coming to market open, what did we end up seeing? Right, 9:30 opens. We kind of just say fuck and just trade higher, sweeping into this gap. And then instead of like kind of like turtle swooping, we end up just displace above it like very frequently. So by this point in time, I was kind of like thinking, well, I would want a deeper retrace because we're just so heavily bullish, just leaning that bullish narrative. I wanted to, since we like, right, first of all, look at this, right? These past candles have been incredibly bullish. We end up creating this 15-minute and then multiple 5-minute candles, right? So then what do we also end up doing? I remember Blake kind of saying this, like within this range. What did we end up doing? Sweeping into equilibrium, sweeping into this gap. We also end up sweeping here. Yeah, we do. So we end up sweeping to this 15-minute gap, and then we should have traded higher from there. And then what do we end up having? We ended up having a 4-minute gap right here. That was my inversion point, and then I just kind of wanted to take a long towards there. Target at the body, and kind of like just go for a one-on-one, to be honest. And yeah, that was my narrative. And then we ended up doing that, but we also at the same time got a little bit of a later entry. So here, right? So here, and then this would have been our one-to-one. Very close, but fortunately back to break even because we did end up sweeping into this 15-minute intermediate high. That was our break even point. Forgot to mention. But yeah, kind of sucked because we were literally 1 point away. But it was like one tick actually. It wasn't even, it was just one tick away. It's not crazy. And yeah, it kind of sucked, but we ended up not winning it because I think just of error. Um, but yeah, basically just getting back to break even. So yep, price went, ticked, and we should have won. I actually think it was like around here by accident because I entered like around here. The RR was like a lot less. So yeah, didn't end up hitting and then break even, no SMT. And it sucked. I mean, there was actually an SMT. So here, it was technically an SMT. So yeah, definitely wanted to just kind of like just go for easy trade, 1-to-1 RR. I know Blake ended up taking this 1 minute right here just because of his conviction, which honestly would have been a better draw for me because imagine if you just took it from here, right? And it was protected because we swept into this equilibrium point and then we had a reaction higher. It's just like in the future, just learning about like discretion. Actually, this would be a better point right here. Yeah, in the future, just learning about discretion, it would have been better for me to kind of like take this trade. But realistic right now, what was the highest time frame inversion? This 4 minute that took into this gap. It's just discretion. This is literally all it came down to is just discretion. And yeah, this ended up being a break even. Sucked, but it is what it is. Um, yeah, that's it. I don't really know what else to say for this. This just was one of those days where could have traded a little bit better, could have entered a little bit more earlier and planned out my strategy a little bit more earlier. Honestly, it was just kind of like a little bit greed where like I wanted to risk a little bit more, get a little bit more, but yeah, it is what it is. And just with discretion, I think I'll like get better, be more confident taking like 1 minute trades based on like confidence, conviction, and all these other things that kind of like add on together to form an actual solid A plus setup. But yeah, it is what it is. One more thing I do kind of want to mention in this video was that I did trade CPI, and I ended up losing all of my freaking work. I'm not gonna lie with y'all. Ended up basically losing 2 of my evals on this day. I will actually show you my notes I took. Literally, like, traded CPI today. I like don't trade CPI unless you know what you're doing. I literally just lost everything. But I said, this is not gonna affect my strategy coming into market open. I did find myself to be a little bit more stressed, but overall, like I loved this kind of narrative that I had and that I noted that like, hey, resweep into this 5, discount 5, perfect trade to take longs off of. It's just that we had like a little bit less conviction to trade in 1 minute rather than the highest time frame inversion, which is not always the case, but it's just more like confidence. And until I can gain that for myself and actually like see, then I'll get better over time. But yeah, it just kind of sucked for me. It just sucked that like uh kind of ended the way it ended. But you know what? We kind of learn and we just keep moving forward. So without further ado, let's just get into Thursday's trade. All right, what's going on? Welcome to Thursday's recap. But yeah, I ended up taking another break-even trade today. A little bit of a invalidation trade, which I will talk about. But yeah, let me just kind of check my notes really quick. So essentially, I was kind of leaning a little bit. Yeah, I was leaning a little bit bullish, kind of similar to like everything, like literally sweep into unfilled gap right here. And then this candle was in here. Sweep into this unfilled gap, recent invalidation of this 4 hour right here by this 2, right? So I was kind of like a little bit leaning bullish, but then again, I wasn't really opposed to taking shorts either, since we were kind of like trending around here. Ignore this bearish displacement, but like we were kind of sweeping into this hourly right here by this point in time of like market open. So kind of like leaning a little bit, yeah, leaning a little bit bullish. But honestly, if we wanted to trade higher and then sweep out like, the gap up here and then trade lower, I wouldn't be opposed to that as well, especially when we also had an hourly gap right here. So yeah, coming to market open, let's kind of talk about the break-even trade. So one reason I was also kind of looking for longs is because we did have like tons of like low resistance liquidity up here, right? Almost like all right here, just low resistance liquidity and just like equal highs, right? So really good draw. We're also kind of trending higher, kind of forming this like V shape, I guess, right? Breaking, we also kind of swept into equilibrium of this range, so wouldn't expect us to kind of like not want to go higher from there. So yeah, coming to the day, we ended up just kind of like sweeping lower for the usual ES. Similar kind of behavior on ES. I was just watching for making sure our TPs and stuff like that weren't hit, essentially. But we ended up sweeping into this hourly intermediate low, perfect for longs. I was like, great. Well, what can we do from here? Well, look for this 4-minute right here. Gosh, it's stuck. Okay, there we go. Right, so this 4-minute inversion is the highest time frame that ended up sweeping into this gap. One more thing is that, yeah, originally we did actually end up like on the lower time frame. We ended up like sweeping into this already, but then we made another trading leg, right? So within this trading leg, this is the 4-minute inversion. Highest time frame inversion in this trading leg is the 4-minute. So I ended up taking that. And then I had a little bit of a later entry, which kind of saved me with RR a little bit, not gonna lie with you. But I kind of talk about that later. So anyways, validation, enter for a good 1-to-1, and then break even at this 15-minute, 5-minute intermediate high, I think. Yeah, 5-minute intermediate high. So, and then basically just kind of wait to see what price action would do. We also created equal highs with this 5 minutes. So if price does sweep into it, we can kind of break even early, which guess what we end up doing on ES. So we end up breaking even early at this point in time. And then price just kind of wamped, like literally decided to trade lower and then hit our stop loss right now. So yeah, ended up saving me pretty good. It is what it is. But basically, I'm gonna tell you why this trade was kind of invalid. One, we left this hourly above right here. Two, we ended up closing 10 right when we entered, I think. Right, so like 10. Could have looked at where we are. We literally invalidated this whole thing by 10. So realistically, this makes it invalid. And nothing here kind of saves it, to be honest. We had a good target to aim for this 4-hour. Then if we're looking at like where we could have traded shorts from, honestly nothing. Yeah, not really anything to trade shorts off of. Maybe, I don't know, maybe this SMT could have done something for us, right? Because this SMT with ES, it was here. Yeah. And what could we have had? Hmm. I'm also kind of looking at this with the same time as you guys are. So, I mean, we could have had this 5-minute, right? 5-minute get broken through right here. And probably traded like at that SMT, probably traded right here for a good 1-to-1 at this 5 and probably would have banked. So I should have probably noticed that price was intending to go lower, seeing how price action is just reacting to these candles. But by this time, I was like, oh, we definitely swept out this gap. So, waiting to see how we entered. Didn't realize that we closed right at 10. Traded at 10 when I shouldn't have. Um, Honestly, that's my fault. So clearly invalidation point for me. But yeah, that's really it for today's trade. Honestly, there's really nothing else that I wanted to kind of take note. Yeah, technical bias was just incorrect this day. It was just off. But yeah, let's get into Friday. Actually, it's kind of important that we get into Friday. I'm gonna show you P&L. Show you the P&L, which is 0, literally nothing. Negative R. Cool. All right, let's move on. All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to today's trade. It's the Friday. So I actually did not end up. No, I'm not gonna lie with you. I was sick as hell. I ended up skipping on today because I was sick. Literally woke up at like 9:40. I was like, I'm not taking a trade today. I'm not even looking at the markets. I'm done. It's because of like my sickness and stuff like that, allergies, seasonal allergies coming up. But yeah, coming into the day, I was kind of like re-looking at the charts. I wanted to be bullish here, just not looking at like the anti-firm narrative. I just found a lot of good opportunities to long. that, fit my strategy, fit my like original bias. But essentially just looking at this hourly, like obviously we're trending higher. We are sweeping and not invalidating. We're turtle sweeping this 4 hour gap right here. So honestly, just looking for 4 hour, or sorry, not 4 hour, looking for like good longs opportunities, right? Ended up seeing, us sweep into this hourly, and then we kind of created like, yeah, so not creating anything yet, spoiler alert, but essentially going to market open, what do we see doing? Yeah, please. Boom, we see a sweep. We see a sweep into this hourly gap, right? And what does that create? An hourly intermediate low. And then from there, honestly, this was enough for me to take it long, to be completely for real. Too. Especially if I see good displacement. Gosh. Especially if I see good displacement, right? Bang, what do we see here? 1 minute inversion to the upside immediately after sweeping to this hourly gap right here, right? And what do we also end up doing too? Do we have an inversion or immediate low? Not really. We do, I think maybe on the 5. Yeah, here, 5 minute intermediate low. 5 minute intermediate low that gets swept. Low resistance gets swept. Sweep into this hourly gap. I was looking for longs. What do I see? 1 minute inversion to the upside. Ignore. Bang, bang. What could we do? Draw towards either this 4 hour or immediate or buy side liquidity. What could we have done here? Honest, it's a 2 minute, right? Or no, 1 minute, 1 minute high time frame. This kind of looks like nothing, to be honest. Yeah, there's really no arbitrary. There's really nothing. We probably could target a 1-to-1 if we wanted to. More than likely, we would be able to hit it. I just don't think there's. Oh, yeah. So this would be our break-even point right here. So I was trying to find a reason, but I couldn't. Yeah. So obviously, what's this? 1 minute gap, right? Turtle soup. It's higher. Intermediate highs right here. Break-even points right here. And honestly, like, yeah, it's a 1.4, and then we could, target this buy side liquidity up here as our full TP. And then what does price end up doing? Ends up trading higher and then completely sweeping that out. So yeah, that's a good opportunity that I saw right at market open, like immediately right at market open. Great patty swing. Yeah, yes, I'm calling it a patty swing because freaking love that name. Anyways, and then what do we end up doing off of this 4 hour right here? Right, we end up sweeping to this 1 hour gap. Sorry. What I want to see, well, maybe a trade lower, right? So we have this gap right here. Maybe not, honestly. I'm kind of learning at the same time as you guys. And then do I see anything? Maybe not. 15-minute gets swept into. And we could trade lower from there, but honestly, at this point, I think I'm kind of done with the day. Do I have anything? I mean, we could have taken like something off of this, off rip. Just make sure real quick. This is valid. .5 minute. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I like building liquidity, right? I like building liquidity and then sweeping up to take them out to come back lower. So or like, building liquidity, and then we're kind of traveling higher, not taking it out, generating it, and then boom, sweeping it completely. I'm a fan of those. So rather than target this unfilled 5, there wasn't really any narrative, especially when we have 15s and all these other crap to deal with and contend with. So yeah, not realistically nothing to be honest to take here. And let me just make sure. So actually, this would be a good trade. 15-minute gets taken. There's some T right here actually. So yeah, SM, right? If no, sorry. Well, actually, yeah. Or no, there's no SMT. Sorry, there's no SMT, but price ends up sweeping into like caps, and then we're displacing lower. Obvious turtle soup. This 15. See if I can find an entry. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Highest time frame inversion might be this 2 minute. Yep, 2 minute. Just make sure. Stop at the body, making that 2 minute. Holy crap. Honestly, at this point, with that ratio, it's so ass. Might not even be worth it, to be honest with you. But I don't know. I might not. I might take this trade. Maybe. Maybe. Probably would. Then probably break even at maybe where it's more easier to target. Honestly, break even at 15. To be honest, that's kind of like the only gap I can see that's like worth doing. Or actually, no. No, this would be a good break even right here. Yeah, because this is hourly intermediate low. Perfect. Yeah. So break even at that point, and then maybe like I don't know. Target a 1-to-1, honestly. Just break even here, target a 1-to-1. See how it plays out. Yeah, break even right here. And woof. Yeah. Yo, would have caught 2 trades today. Oh man. Would have loved that. RIP. I actually didn't know this was gonna play out. I'm not gonna lie with you. Like literally, I looked at the first one a little bit, and I was like, maybe I would have taken that. But the second one, I just figured like, oh, we could take shorts, but I didn't even bother looking. This is yeah. I probably would have taken this. Maybe I don't know hypothetically, but realistically, yeah, I can't. I guess that's kind of my trader view of Friday. But basically, yeah. And here's kind of the PNL of like the no PNL right here. Yeah, just overall review of the week. You can read this too if you want. Basically, yeah. But let's kind of talk about like the whole week and kind of what I expect going to like the future. I guess kind of a review as well, and hopefully that y'all will learn something, and I will too. So, without further ado, let's just get right into the final section of the video. All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the final end of this video. Kind of wanted to talk more about like why this video is named the way it is, but a little bit more to say is that this idea of like trading, it has been my most consistent week with how I felt I've been taking very good trades, and understanding the market a little bit better. I used to, within the past few weeks, honestly. But at the same time, I always kind of want to compare it to, an analogy or something like that. The reason why I say it felt like a battle this week felt like a battle is because consistently I've been trying to battle my psychology and battle weighing good versus bad trades, trades that I think are good versus trades that are actually good. And so, kind of looking ahead, I realized that, the key is repetition. Trying to understand specific market conditions aren't isn't really the key to success with this idea. It's more or less the idea that you keep doing what you're doing and you try to follow your plan as best as you can, and you just build confidence in yourself with trying to understand where your faults are at. So if you're overconfident, right? If you're, over trading, you're overconfident in some trades, well then take less trades. Take trades that you have higher conviction in rather than, not necessarily like you're gonna be overconfident, you're gonna take trades that you have high conviction in, but at the same time, there is a level of understanding of knowing the narrative of a specific trade. So for that reason, you always want to try to find a solution for your problems. And so, at the end of the day, you just have to like realize what your faults are and try to do the opposite. So for me, it's hesitation with trades, and in the past 2 weeks ish, 1.5 week more or less, I've been trying to take more trades, trades that I'm hesitating on, and I've been pretty good with you know kind of winning. But not to say that like I should trade more because I'm winning more. No, it's because I am more confident in my trades that I'm trading more. So I'm more confident in my model. I'm more confident in my system, and that's just the way that life goes with this trading. So yeah, and why I explain it's a battle. It's a battle towards myself. It's a battle to get better. So that's kind of like the narrative behind that. It's not clickbait, I swear. But yeah, at the end of the day, I just this week was a pretty good week, and I just wanted to push out a trading recap. So yeah, without further ado, I just hope that you guys have been enjoying this video and just been enjoying the content that I've been pushing out so far. Just keep in mind that like, at the end of the day, you have your own struggles, your own journey, and you just need to work through it. Don't lose, don't lose hope. You know, don't let other people in the world affect how you view yourself, how you view your goals, what you have. Just keep moving forward, keep being passionate, and keep being driven. Because at the end of the day, whoever's watching this may be thinking into trading, may have already started trading, but you know, wherever you are in life and wherever you may be going, just make sure that the choices that you choose are for yourself and um, you know, aren't affected by anyone else. At the end of the day, I'm greedy, man. I'm choosing this lifestyle for myself because what I'm passionate about, but it's also what I'm disciplined in, and I will keep doing it. So yeah, all that to say, repetition is key, man. So without further ado, I hope that you guys have a great rest of your weekend. Um, please hit that like and subscribe button if you guys enjoy this content. Just trying to push out more. So yeah, without saying anything less, I hope you guys have a good rest of your week or weekend. Peace.